guy. The winter months can be really busy for some people. Last year, I wound up taking an unplanned 3-month hiatus from YouTube videos. The next Force Smash is not quite ready yet, but in the meantime, we're gonna play a quick little game called the All Echoes Challenge. Other people have done something similar, but the idea is to come up with an Echo Fighter for every Super Smash Bros. Character. I'm going to be following these general guidelines. Number 1. I must make up an Echo for every character that doesn't already have one. No skips. However, I will not be including DLC characters since we don't know who all the DLC characters are yet. Sometime in the future, maybe I'll do a second video for the DLC characters specifically. I will also not be including Mii fighters since, with their many costumes, it's a bit redundant. Number 2. The characters I choose generally must be from the same series. This isn't a hard rule, but a general trend based on the Echoes we've seen in Ultimate. I mean, if you want to call Melee the birthplace of Echoes, Ganondorf was originally a Captain Falcon Echo, so breaking this trend every once in a while is fine. I'm only going to use it for characters who come from a series that don't have many characters. Number 3. The characters I choose must be roughly the same size and shape of their base character and reasonably capable of performing every attack of the base character in some fashion. This is the entire point of Echoes, adding extra characters whose abilities are close enough to make sense, or vague enough that they may not have been added otherwise. There's a little wiggle room here. Chrom and Ken have a few different moves, Peach is a little taller than Daisy, and Simon looks a little bulkier than Richter, but apparently Isabelle was too tall to be a villager Echo. Of course, many Echoes have their own voices, animations, and even final smashes, so I'll try to mention any notable differences as we cover each character. Now let's get into it. All Echoes Challenge! Mario. I'm gonna go right with Shadow Mario, the initial main antagonist and rivaling villain of Super Mario Sunshine. He has a perfectly matching appearance, and in most episodes he directly copies Mario's movement, so copying all his moves doesn't seem like a stretch. What about the Flood attack? Well, one of the things Shadow Mario is most well known for is stealing Flood, so I think this works pretty comedically. Maybe instead of fireballs he could shoot balls of goo, which function the same way but splatter enemies with an Inkling effect rather than a fire effect. Since the Koopa Kids already use a Shadow Mario Final Smash, Shadow Mario could use a Bowser Jr.-esque Final Smash, like perhaps the Mecha Bowser. Donkey Kong. Besides the change of clothes, there's not much difference between DK and his pal Funky. As it is, Donkey Kong's moveset is largely made up, so give Funky Kong his own poses and I think he works perfectly well. Top him off with some kind of surfing Final Smash. Link. It'd be great to diversify as much as possible, but ultimately, between Link, Young Link, and Toon Link, we're copying Link's moveset 3 times. For our standard Link, I'm going with Linkle from Hyrule Warriors. While she normally has her own moves, I think it makes enough sense to treat her as a classic hero of time with Link's kit, with a visually distinct neutral special and final smash that utilize her crossbows. Samus has Dark Samus. Yoshi. If we want a character that can copy all of Yoshi's abilities, with the tongue and everything, then I'm going with Boshi, the tough racer from Super Mario RPG. With his sunglasses, fangs, and toe spikes, he's visually different enough while being similar enough. Maybe you could add a tipper effect to his kick attacks, and a final smash where he races all over the stage. Kirby. This one's even trickier than Yoshi. If you want to include Kirby's Inhale ability, options are limited. I'd love to say the obvious choice is Gooey, but without feet, you're adapting him quite a bit, and probably replacing the Inhale with a Lick Up. Might be fine, but might be too much to consider an Echo. Perhaps it's a bit boring, but I'm going with Kirby, the second player of Kirby's Dream Course. Kirby already has an ult similar to Kirby, so maybe fade Kirby's colors a bit, then differentiate him further with a more classic-styled Kirby face, alternate standing animations, ults that utilize Kirby's unused palettes, one of Kirby's alternative dash attacks like the Break Spin, and a steamrolling final smash inspired by Dream Course. Fox. My immediate thought was James McCloud, which I think would work great, but given the choices I made for the other Star Fox characters, I changed my mind to a Star Fox Assault-inspired Crystal. I'm kind of cringing at this decision since it would be really great to see Crystal using her staff as a unique character, but since the Star Fox characters use the same abilities in this and most games, I suppose this would work. Definitely not my preference for Crystal, just like Daisy for me, but I think the frame, abilities, and context work as an Echo. Pikachu. I would legitimately love Raichu in Smash. It's one of my favorite Pokemon and the only one of Pikachu's line that isn't playable. I think you can fudge the size enough to not make Raichu too big compared to Pikachu, leaving the tail as the only question, I think. Maybe it can stay coiled up enough to stay close, or maybe having slightly longer tail attacks can be one of Raichu's special properties. This one might be a stretch, but I'm sticking with it. Luigi. I mean, is there anything more perfect than Gooigi? We already have a fully functioning Luigi clone here that copies all of Luigi's actions in Luigi's Mansion 3, so I think it makes enough sense for Gooigi to copy his Smash fighting moves too, plus it can already perfectly emulate the Poltergust abilities. Maybe to match Shadow Mario, Gooigi could launch forward-blasting goo balls, or have a low dodge where he morphs into a blob of goo, giving it a bit more resistance in exchange for taking water damage. Ness. Given he's borrowing many of her abilities anyway, why not Paula? Just replace the bat with a frying pan, make Ness appear in her final smash, and you have Earthbound's female lead. Captain Falcon. Just give him different exaggerated villainous poses and quotes, change the names of his moves to Blood, give him his vehicle, and you can make a great full-blown Blood Falcon Echo out of Captain Falcon. Jigglypuff. Igglybuff. We have Pichu, so why not? Peach. Already has Daisy. Bowser. With his fire breath and shell attacks, Bowser has a fairly specific base to cover. While it may not expand representation much, I decided to go with Dry Bowser. It's visually different and interesting, we haven't seen any of the Skeletal Mario characters yet, and he's already become playable in multiple Mario games as is. Ice Climbers. There really isn't anything fitting to use within the Ice Climber game to use here, so we're gonna have to expand outwards, and I just can't get past the idea of using the Baby Brothers here, Baby Mario and Baby Luigi. While their appearance might be a bit different from Bobo and Nana, they can at least match the size, and there's two of them. And using Partners in Time as an inspiration, the hammer fighting style works surprisingly well. This game even introduces the Ice Flower, so the ice attacks aren't completely out of place either. Maybe you can Mario-wise things a little bit more, give the icicles little freezy faces and make the up special resemble a chain chomp chain. Give them a final smash where they stampede all over the stage using the cape from Super Mario World 2, and I think you actually have a workable Echo Fighter here. Sheik. Given she uses a made-up ninja-themed moveset based on the Sheikah from the Zelda series, why not use this opportunity to include the leader of the Sheikah, Impa? Impa is one of the franchise's most important characters to not be playable in Smash Bros. Yet, and I think being an echo of Sheik would suit her perfectly fine. Zelda. Since this Zelda is primarily based on A Link Between Worlds anyway, I think Hilda makes the most sense. Just give her a completely different demeanor in her face and animations, and you have yourself a new character. Dr. Mario. Dr. Luigi. Make it a small compromise between Dr. Mario and Luigi, with almost all of Dr. Mario's attacks, including special moves and throws, but Luigi's dash attack and forward aerial, and a final smash that launches large L-shaped pills. Pichu. Using a similar theme to Pikachu and Jigglypuff, how about the similarly shaped Plusle and Minun? No, not as a tag team, as a split costume like Olimar and Elf. As a difference, perhaps they could ignore Pichu's recoil damage in exchange for lower damage output to match Pikachu's, and then a final smash where they team up with their lost partner. Falco. Given his rivalry with the bird and similar-ish structure, I think you could get away with using Leon Pawalski as an echo here. He could use a Falco variant of Wolf's final smash, and what would be really cool is if he had Wolf's reflector, but kicked it like Falco. Marth has Lucina. Young Link. Going hand in hand with Hilda, I'm using Ravio, Link's low-roll counterpart in A Link Between Worlds. Like Linkle, we don't usually see Ravio use a sword and shield, but given his relationship to Link, I think it makes enough sense. Plus, he does sell Link his sub-weapons. There's enough here for this to work. Ganondorf. I'm going with Demise, using powerful, maybe electric-styled Captain Falcon attacks, perhaps with a lightning-themed final smash and utilizing Girahim for smash attacks. Mewtwo. It's actually a bit difficult to find another Pokemon that can perfectly emulate Mewtwo in this way. A powerful variety of abilities, along with a big tail that can be used for attacks. I'd love to say Mew, but the size difference is just too much here. Since it's one of my favorite Mewtwo forms and not utilized in this moveset, I just went with Mega Mewtwo X. It could be a bulkier Mewtwo variant with the exact same attacks, but not as light or as floaty. It might seem unusual to change stats for Echoes, but Ryu and Ken have some differences as well. Roy has Chrom. Mr. Game&Watch. Well, if you want to use the moveset, it's gotta be someone using attacks that are all Game&Watch references. My initial idea was to make the moves resemble the Game&Watch Gallery games. Basically, the moveset is the exact same, but the gimmick is that they visually match Super Smash Bros.' style as opposed to the flat graphics of Mr. Game&Watch. I like it, but I still need a character to attach to it, and Game&Watch Gallery uses all Mario characters who I can't see pinning the entire moveset on. After a few contenders, I settled on 9V from the WarioWare series. All of his games are Nintendo references as is, including Game&Watch, so I think this type of moveset would fit him, and at least his short stature could somewhat match Mr. Game&Watch. Meta Knight. Galactonite has always been one of my favorite Echo ideas. He's become something of a recurring challenge in Kirby games, he has a wicked cool theme song, and his abilities are almost entirely based on Meta Knights. Yes, I know he wields a lance instead of a sword, but have you seen him fight? Despite the weapon difference, he uses it the exact same way, and his final smash could be one of his flashier attacks. I see absolutely no reason this wouldn't be a fantastic Echo. Pit already has Dark Pit. Zero Suit Samus. Quick note, before Brawl came out, something very similar to Zero Suit Samus's moveset was my idea for a moveset I conceptualized for Jodie Summer from F-Zero. But we gotta stay in the realm of Metroid, right? I'll go with Ganondorf, one of the bounty hunters from Metroid Prime 3. Her build and athleticism is close enough to match Samus, and with her shape-shifting abilities, she can pretty much use any attack she wants. For extra style, perhaps you could have her blast the paralyzer shots out of her hands instead of a gun, and have her stretch her arms to match Samus's whip attacks. Her final smash could be one of her more terrorizing transformations. Wario. A Wario character that could match Wario's frame and moveset. He might not be the most popular WarioWare character, but how about Dr. Krygor? While he may not be as shapely as Wario, he has a similar height and stature, and since most of Wario's moveset is made up anyway, I don't see why he couldn't perform most of it. Krygor created Wario's bike, so it wouldn't be unusual for him to have a similar vehicle. Maybe his up special could have a fire effect, using his jetpack for the motion, and the fart could be a reference to his stomach problems from the first WarioWare game. Snake. Big Boss. Ike. While it might look weird at first, I'm going with the Black Knight. He could be the same size, but with the bulkier armor, be a slightly overall larger character with more weight. Both he and Ike are swordsmen trained by Grail, and the Black Knight's Alondite matches Ike's Ragnall, so I don't think it'd be strange at all for them to have similar fighting styles. Since Chrom is already borrowing Aether, the Black Knight could borrow Roy's up special as a joke. Just change the effect and call it Luna, then give him Eclipse as the final smash. Pokémon Trainer. Since the trainer themselves is in the background, not part of the fight, I think you can slap just about anyone in there, so I'm going with the Pokémon Rival. While the trainer is based on red and green, the rival is based on blue. And maybe Trace if you want to do the half and half alts. Instead of Squirtle and Ivysaur, the Pokémon Rival uses Bulbasaur and Wartortle, who have the same movesets as their counterparts, but switch both in rotation order and stats. Bulbasaur is a bit lighter and speedier than Ivysaur, and Wartortle is a bit heavier and slower than Squirtle. Then, the third Pokemon is Mega Charizard X. Here, it works exactly like Charizard, but breathes blue flames instead, just like the difference between Simon and Richter. Diddy Kong. Ideally, she would be more unique, but Dixie Kong has a very similar build, and since Diddy no longer uses his tail for attacks, she could work quite well as an Echo. Hopefully, she could at least have her helicopter spin as a recovery move, maybe based on Spinning Kong, but with Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, she could even copy the Rocket Barrel. Maybe she could have some kind of Guitar Gazump final smash, or something where she teams up with Kiddy Kong. Lucas. While he has plenty of his own stuff, I think you could use the Masked Man here. Lucas and the Masked Man have the exact same identical build, and both are capable of using PSI. I only request a few visual differences. Using the sword instead of the stick, maybe blast could come out of the laser gun for certain moves like the down smash, and a wholly unique final smash with a lightning strike. Actually, this could work pretty well. Sonic. Sonic has a very obvious Echo choice here with Shadow the Hedgehog. I know, Shadow has his own abilities. Yeah, well, so does every character that becomes an Echo. The point of the exercise is to find characters that could work as Echoes, and yes, Shadow is very capable of doing everything Sonic does. While you could give him some fun extras, you don't even need to change Shadow much to make him feel like himself. Give him his run animation and I'll be satisfied. King Dedede. Dedede has had several evil variations that could work well enough as Echoes, so I chose King D-Mind from the Kirby Clash games. He could pretty much take Dedede's whole moveset with more serious taunts and monstrous voice clips, and a final smash with a giant axe or something even more terrifying. Olimar. Louie. Right? The original player 2 of Pikmin. Just for fun, you could give him Rock Pikmin instead of Purple Pikmin, even though they're the exact same, and half his ults could be Brittany to match Olimar's Elf. Lucario. I felt a bit more freedom in what I could go with in Lucario's design and fighting style than I did with Mewtwo. I chose Zeraora. Its Plasma Fist could replace Lucario's Aura, expanding the range of Zeraora's moves with electricity that stays at a consistent damage rate. A more basic variant of Lucario, with Gigavolt Havoc as a final smash. Rob. I'm having a hard time thinking of anything else that could possibly match Rob's unique moveset and shape, so I'm using the Ancient Minister from the Subspace Emissary, which is just secretly Rob itself. The cloak makes using Rob's robot arms a bit unusual. My idea is the cloak opens and closes around itself like a circular shower curtain, only revealing Rob when it uses claw attacks and only being fully visible during the side special. The Ancient Minister stays completely cloaked for regular movement and jet attacks, granting slightly different hitboxes overall, and maybe it could have a subspace bomb final smash. Toon Link. This is just Link in a different art style, so I thought I'd match with the Link from Link's Awakening. Some people have been calling this Toy Link, and hey, that makes just as much sense to me as Toon Link. Wolf. I chose Panther Caroso, a later member of the Star Wolf team whose claws could work to match Wolf's attacks. Combined with the other official Star Fox characters and the Echoes I picked, that gives Team Star Fox, Fox, Falco, and Crystal, and Star Wolf, Wolf, Leon, and Panther. Villager. I guess Isabelle was too tall, so we have to pick an older Animal Crossing character to match the villager. I'm going with Tom Nook. As a kid, this was the Animal Crossing character I always wanted to see in Smash Bros, and if they ever did add another Animal Crossing character, he's who I'd want next regardless. Mega Man. There's a few good options here, but I'm going with Proto Man. Proto Man is totally capable of doing all of Mega Man's moves, but I hope he could at least come with Proto Shield as a dash attack and maybe a Big Bang Strike final smash. Wii Fit Trainer. Ring Fit Trainer. Alright, this may not work perfectly, but you do a lot of poses in Ring Fit Adventure that are similar to Wii Fit Trainers, so I think they either work well enough, or could be made to work with just slight animation adjustments. I think it'd be fun to give plenty of the moves, especially the up special, a fire effect too, like Roy was to Marth back in Melee, and make the neutral special, side special, and final smash projectiles match the attacks from Ring Fit. Rosalina and Luma. This is another one that's pretty specific. A Mario character that can match Rosalina's build, use all her abilities, and makes enough sense to do so? I really thought about doing something creative here, like Pauline and Cappy, but in the end, I'm just using the Cosmic Spirit from Super Mario Galaxy 2. This is based on an older idea I had when Smash Ultimate first released to use Shadow Mario and Cosmic Luigi as Mario and Luigi's echoes. It would fight like Rosalina, but use that same silly high-pitched voice as Cosmic Mario and Luigi and come with wackier taunts. Then, one big gameplay difference. Instead of regular Lumas, sticking with the Super Mario Galaxy 2 theme, the Cosmic Spirit uses larger Lumas that resemble Lubba, which attack slower but take more hits. Little Mac. The whole joke with Punch-Out is that all of the boxers tower over Little Mac, so a lot of them don't work for me. Yes, a Doc Lewis Echo would be great and make sense as Mac's teacher, but he's so much bigger I just can't see it happening. I'm looking for a boxer who's close enough to max size where you can stretch just a small height difference and get away with it, and could feasibly use the same types of boxing moves Mac does. I picked Narcissus Prince, one of the final boxers from Super Punch-Out for SNES. While he's definitely taller than Mac, he's shorter than most of the other boxers and has a build that, I think, is very similar to Mac's, so I think the moveset fits well too. If we're allowed to make Mac just a bit taller, I think this works. He could be heavier and harder to knock away in exchange for a weaker KO punch, and his final smash could be a furious flurry of blows from getting angry about his face being hit. Greninja! We gotta find a Pokemon that can use that moveset and pose? Frogadier. Palutena. Using her appearance from Kid Icarus Uprising, I think Medusa would make a great mirror to Palutena. Her attacks could use dark variants of Palutena's light attacks, and maybe she could use bat or demon-like wings for moves like the down smash, not to mention a final smash that's closer to her true form. Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man would be the perfect Echo here. I have no clue what is going on with her ownership as a character, but this has to be the choice. Robin. Another Fire Emblem character that uses this perfect blend of tomes and swords. While you could stretch outward to justify something, I just don't think anyone goes with it as well as Morgan, Robin's own child. While portraits might make Morgan look a bit shorter, the in-game models aren't that different, and you can even replicate Robin's half-and-half male and female alts, giving Morgan different hair colors to match different potential parents. This would be the perfect character to match Chrome's Lucina, and hey, maybe Morgan's final smash can be a pair-up with Lucina! Shulk. I am not a Xenoblade expert, so I consulted multiple friends about who to use here. Several names came up, but ultimately I settled on Dunban, one of Shulk's cool party members who has also wielded the Monado even though it's detrimental to him. Perhaps you could reflect this in his differences as an Echo, make him a bit stronger than Shulk, but he takes recoil like Pichu. Maybe his final smash could include Shulk, along with other party members. Bowser Jr. Junior's moveset is pretty much just a Koopa Clown Car moveset, so really, you can stick anyone in there. Still, I decided I'd stay with the theme and make the Echo Baby Bowser, with alts that are all Bowser themed, and a final smash that resembles the final boss of Yoshi's Island. Duck Hunt, oh boy. A dog with a bird companion and a sniper in the foreground? Duck Hunt is probably a character that will never actually get an Echo. After going through multiple ideas and taking some big creative liberties, I came up with using Undo Dog from Mario Paint and Super Mario Maker. Undo Dog copies the Duck Hunt dog's abilities, and the duck is replaced with Yamamura, Mario Maker's pigeon. The Zapper shots are instead a Mario finger cursor clicking on the stage. The Hogan's Alley can is replaced with an 8-bit Bob-omb that keeps getting bounced by the Mario Maker clicking on it. The Clay Pigeon is replaced with a fly that the finger repeatedly tries to swat, and the Wild Gunmen are replaced by either a regular or red Bill Blaster. Two random speed variations of a cannon launching slower but more powerful 8-bit bullet bills. There's so many visual differences, this might really be stretching what you can call an Echo, but I needed something for Duck Hunt. I'm not sure what you'd call this character anyway, maybe just Mario Maker? The final smash could be a reset rocket. Ryu already comes with Ken. Cloud, Zack Fair. Could you ask for a better fit? Corrin. Following suit to Robin, I'm using Kana. Same exact idea. Same moveset, small height difference, male and female alts, and different hair colors to imply different parents. Bayonetta. Like Xenoblade, I have very little Bayonetta knowledge, but with what I do know, I went with Jean. I think there's other characters that work as well, but Jean is the one I know. Inklings. Octolings. Good? Good. Ridley. Meta Ridley is already a costume, and heck, pretty much anything else is probably just going to be another form of Ridley anyway. I chose Neo Ridley, the X-Parasite from Metroid Fusion possessing a clone of Ridley's body, so it's kind of a different character? Maybe you could give it a slightly bigger body with slightly smaller wings to match more and make a difference. But to be honest, the main reason I picked Neo Ridley is just for the voice change. Simon has Richter, though I wouldn't be opposed to Trevor joining as well. King K. Rool. I actually had a couple ideas for this one, and although it would take more than a few aesthetic changes, I decided on Lord Frederick from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This villain was obviously based on the king himself in both build and fighting style, so I think K. Rool's size and attacks would work perfectly for him. His neutral special could be functionally the exact same, but use Frederick's horn rather than a blunderbuss, and his side special could use his Viking helmet. As a bigger change-up, his down special could be a more regular belly counter. No armor, meaning no armor-shattering weakness, but also no passive blocking, a more simple heavyweight. And, of course, he's gotta have that Ice Dragon Final Smash. Lord Frederick may not have been King K. Rool, but Tropical Freeze was still a fantastic Donkey Kong Country game. Isabelle. Digby. Incineroar. Although he's a fire type, Incineroar doesn't use much fire in his moves, and even the ones that do can easily have their fire effect removed, like making a Marth out of a Roy. I'm just looking for another bulky, humanoid Pokemon that could use Incineroar's wrestling moves, and if I got to pick, I'd pick Machamp. Like Lord Frederick, it's a slightly bigger stretch on the overall appearance, but I think Machamp does more than well enough on matching Incineroar's size and attacks. The only question is Machamp's extra arms. What I'm envisioning right now is the 2 extra arms just mimicking the actions of the arms below them. They're just for show and are only really used in Machamp's all-out pummeling final smash. And that's everything until we get to the DLC characters. Woo! Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of these Echo ideas, or what Echoes you would make for Smash Ultimate's roster. See you next time for the next character.